Hi, this is Kylie Heath, and I'm going to show you one of the lessons that I've created as part of my blended learning unit. The issue that my blended learning unit is to address is students missing instruction. So my SMART goal is that by the end of the third marking period, the students that miss instruction due to illness, vacation, ISS, OSS, or anything else will decrease the number of missing assignments by 50%, measured by recording daily homework and classwork completion. The blended model that I decided on was the flipped classroom, and then during class we will be doing the station rotation, but there will not be any technology within the classroom. The content area that I will be teaching is Algebra 1, specifically simplifying rational expressions and identifying any restricted values. The students that will be going through this unit and specifically this lesson is 84 freshmen, 21 sophomores, and 3 juniors. Only 3 of the students have IEPs, and I have 10 students that are identified as EL learners. The first part of this lesson is the flipped element, where students will have to access Schoology before coming to class. They will click on the Unit 5 folder, and for the lesson that I developed, I started with day 3, and they will click on their lesson. In each folder for each day, there is an overview that students will access to see what they need to do. So for instance, in this lesson, they need to read the introduction, and then while they're watching a video, they'll follow along and copy down the examples using the guided note packet that I will have handed out in class. There's a little reminder here for students to write down any questions if they have any, so that way they remember what they need to ask in class. After they've read the overview, they will move on to the introduction. That's just a brief description about what they're going to be learning about in the video. And then they will go and click next so that they can access the video. The video that I chose for this lesson actually came from CK12, and it's simplifying rational expressions. So they will just go through this video and it will give them the 5 examples that they need to copy down. The videos only a total of 8 minutes and 18 seconds, which I felt was not too long to provide enough information for the students in order to understand what they're supposed to be doing in this lesson. Once the students have access to the material from the flipped classroom at home, they will come into class the next day, and there will be 3 stations available. One station will be the collaboration station that will last about 10 minutes and have approximately 6 students there at a time, and they will be working in pairs, so there will be 3 pairs. Each student will get the same exact worksheet, except within each pair, one student will be completing the first column, simplifying the expressions, and the other partner will be completing the other 3 problems in the second column. Once both students are finished, they'll be able to compare their answers, and as long as they both simplified correctly, they should have the same simplified answer. If they don't, then they know that there is a mistake somewhere and they can work together to figure out where that mistake is. Other examples of activities that I may use in the collaboration station would be something like this right here with tic-tac-toe. This may be challenging for students to complete in 10 minutes, so this might be something that I do on a day that I'm not doing stations. And another example that could possibly be done in the collaboration station, or again, maybe not even in stations, but just for students to work together, would be a puzzle cutout where they will cut all of these different squares out with problems on them, and then they have to reorganize it to match up the original rational expression to the simplified rational expression. Another station in the station rotation will be the small group station, where the teacher will actually be facilitating, and this is where students will be able to ask questions if they have any from the video lesson that they watched prior to coming to class, or if they've already completed the collaboration or independent station, they can ask questions from those stations as well. If there's enough time, then each student will get a whiteboard marker and eraser to work on, and a problem will be projected on the board for the students to simplify, and the teacher will assist as necessary. Once all the students are finished with simplifying the problem, then the answer will be projected on the board. The problems that I project on the board would look something like this. We would start off pretty basic, so the students would have an opportunity to simplify this expression on their individual whiteboards and hold their answer in the air, and then the answer would be projected on the next slide, and we would work through these and then have a conversation as a group depending on if the students got the question correct or incorrect. As we go through these, and if I notice the students are doing well, we would move forward a little bit faster to some problems that are a little bit more challenging and maybe take a little bit more time and effort for the students to complete. The last station in the station rotation will be the independent station, and at this station, students will have 20 minutes to work. In a station like this, I do want to make sure that I incorporate an assignment that students can know if they're doing correctly as they're working through it. So for example, this assignment here on simplifying rational expressions, it only has 6 questions. Students are able to show their work, and then there is a way to check their answers. They have to be able to match these answers up to the work that they've shown here. So if their answer that they get in their problem isn't one of the possible answer choices, they know that there's a mistake and they need to go back and check. A similar option for the independent station would be something like this, where students need to work through a maze in order to get to the end. So once again, if they do this incorrectly, they won't reach the end. So they'll need to go back and check their work and find their mistake if they don't get to the last block here. Finally, some of the worries and concerns that I have about implementing a lesson like this in my classroom is that students will not watch the lesson or take notes prior to coming to class and be unprepared, which would result in a lot of confusion during the station rotation. I'm also afraid that it may increase the gap instead of closing it. I think that students that struggle may not be as motivated to access the material, and the students that are motivated and want to do well will just continue to progress forward and almost move ahead faster. Something that I also worry about is that because this has not been implemented consistently, students will become frustrated quickly and will resist trying this method. Also, with this being new and with there always being issues with technology, I think it is almost an easy way out for some students. There's a lot of different reasons that students can come up with excuses as to why they didn't watch the video or access the material prior to coming to class. And finally, one of my last concerns is that during a lesson, usually I'm able to gauge the students' understanding by their body language. I can tell if students don't understand something quickly by some of their facial expressions or the way that they react to some of the things that I say. And with students watching lessons prior to coming to class, I think it's going to be a little bit harder to catch those immediate reactions. Now, I will be able to discuss these concepts with students during the small group discussion and the small group station, but I won't get that immediate feedback when they're watching the lesson.